Hey everyone, welcome back to BullionIQ, your go-to spot for crypto insights, market updates, and honest talk about investments that matter. Today, I want you to imagine something that might sound a little crazy. Decades from now, your grandkids ask you, why didn't you buy XRP when it was under 50 cents? And now the punchline, XRP is worth $5,000 per coin. It sounds like a crypto fairy tale, but one top developer in the XRP community, Vincent Fancode, actually joked about this exact scenario, and it got me both excited and a little uneasy. When I first saw the post, I had to double check if he was serious. Of course, he was being playful, but behind the humor, there is an important lesson that every investor can learn. That's exactly what we're going to explore today. I'll take you on a journey from a skeptical chuckle to cautious optimism, revisiting some of the biggest missed opportunities in crypto history and examining whether $5,000 XRP is just fantasy or something that could realistically happen in the future. Along the way, I'll give you my own perspective as someone who follows XRP closely and tries to stay realistic while staying optimistic. Before we dive deeper, here's a quick heads up. We have a free educational Discord linked in the description below, which is a friendly space where crypto enthusiasts share lessons, strategies, and insights to help each other navigate this unpredictable market. I invite you to join us there because learning and growing together is always better than going it alone. Now back to the story. The XRP community went buzzing after Vincent's tweet because he painted a surreal scenario. Imagine a grandparent explaining to their grandkids that they ignored XRP when it was under 50 cents. The punchline is that because XRP is now $5,000, that grandkid will have to work a regular 9-to-5 job, missing a life-changing opportunity. The post ended with a simple message: don't be that grandpa, do your own research. Plain and simple, Dior. When I read it, I couldn't help but laugh, but I also felt a little pit in my stomach because it struck a chord. Nobody wants to be the person in the future who says, yeah, I had the chance, but I ignored it. And now look at what I missed. This is exactly why the tweet went viral. It was funny, but it also spoke to a universal fear among crypto enthusiasts missing out on the next big opportunity. The scenario also reminds us of one of crypto's most famous cautionary tales, Bitcoin. Back in 2010, Bitcoin traded for just a few cents. Remember the legendary 10,000 BTC pizza story? Today, those 10,000 coins would be worth over $1 billion. Early investors who sold too soon or didn't buy at all now live with those missed millions. Vincent's tweet taps into that same sentiment. Don't miss the boat. He isn't saying XRP will hit $5,000 tomorrow. The point is about mindset, thinking long-term, understanding potential, and being aware of opportunities while doing your research. The humor makes it relatable, but the lesson is serious. It reminds us that in crypto, timing matters, but research matters even more. If you want to explore this scenario, understand the reasoning, and learn practical lessons, then you're in the right place. By the end of this video, you'll see why some of the wildest predictions can carry important messages about strategy, risk management, and long-term thinking in crypto. If you're excited, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned because we're going to break down the $5,000 XRP idea, analyze what's realistic, and share some tips for approaching opportunities smartly without falling for hype. Whether you're a longtime XRP supporter or just curious about crypto, this video will help you think critically about opportunities and potential pitfalls, and hopefully give you a fresh perspective on the market. Remember, it's not just about chasing crazy numbers, it's about understanding the trends, thinking ahead, and making informed decisions. That's the approach we follow here on BullionIQ, and it's what I want to share with all of you today. Now that we've set the stage with Vincent Fancode's $5,000 XRP scenario, let's take a step back and look at some of crypto's biggest lessons from history. The story of Bitcoin is the perfect starting point. Back in 2010, Bitcoin was almost worthless, trading at just a few cents per coin. Yet, those who recognized its potential early on now hold unimaginable wealth. The most famous example is the legendary Bitcoin pizza story. In May 2010, a programmer spent 10,000 BTC on 2 pizzas. At the time, it seemed normal, maybe even a fun experiment. Fast forward to today, and those 10,000 coins would be worth over $1 billion. Think about it for a second. Millions, even billions of dollars spent on a simple meal. Early Bitcoin investors often sold too soon or ignored it completely, and now they live with the regret of those missed opportunities. That story perfectly illustrates a common principle in crypto. Early adoption is powerful, but hesitation can be costly. Now, if we bring that lesson to XRP, the parallel is clear. XRP has been around for years, and while it hasn't captured headlines the same way Bitcoin did, it has quietly built infrastructure and partnerships that many other cryptocurrencies lack. When Vincent joked about explaining to your grandkids why you didn't buy XRP at 50 cents, he was pointing to that same fear of missing out that Bitcoin investors felt. The joke is playful, but the underlying message is serious. Don't dismiss an opportunity just because it feels early, unfamiliar, or risky. DYOR, or do your own research, is crucial. Understanding the technology, the team behind it, and its real-world use cases can help you make smarter decisions rather than following hype blindly. History also teaches us about the psychological side of investing. Crypto markets are volatile, and fear of missing out, or FOMO, can drive people to make impulsive choices. Early Bitcoin adopters who held their coins through extreme ups and downs eventually saw massive gains. Conversely, those who panicked during dips sold too early and missed out. XRP in many ways is entering a similar stage. Prices might fluctuate daily, but understanding the long-term potential is key. Holding with a plan, knowing your risk tolerance, and keeping an eye on market trends can prevent regret later. Just like Bitcoin, the lesson is patience and informed strategy. Another important historical lesson comes from exaggerations and predictions in crypto. Over the years, there have been wild claims about Bitcoin and other coins hitting astronomical numbers in short periods. John McAfee famously predicted Bitcoin would reach $1 million by 2020, which didn't happen. Many investors who believed in short-term miracles were burned. The takeaway here is simple: always separate hype from reality. While it's exciting to imagine life-changing gains, practical planning and a diversified approach are essential. In the context of XRP, the $5,000 scenario is extreme, but it's meant to spark a mindset of long-term thinking rather than unrealistic overnight wealth. XRP also has some unique advantages compared to other coins, which history suggests could make it more sustainable. Unlike Bitcoin, XRP focuses on fast and low-cost transactions, appealing to banks and financial institutions. Ripple, the company behind XRP, has survived legal challenges and is steadily expanding its network. This demonstrates resilience, which is often overlooked when people only focus on price charts. In the long run, coins with real-world use cases and strong adoption tend to outperform purely speculative assets. History backs this up. Bitcoin succeeded because people trusted it, used it, and believed in its long-term value. XRP might follow a similar path if adoption grows steadily over the next decade or two. Finally, the biggest historical lesson for any crypto investor is simple: don't let regret drive your decisions. Learning from past mistakes, observing market trends, and understanding technology can guide your choices today. Vincent's humorous post about $5,000 XRP is more than just a joke. It's a cautionary tale wrapped in a thought experiment. It reminds us to think long-term, take calculated risks, and always stay informed. If you learn one thing from crypto history, it's that knowledge, patience, and strategy are more valuable than chasing every headline or meme. Now that we've looked at crypto history and lessons from Bitcoin, let's focus on XRP itself and why it deserves attention beyond just the $5,000 speculation. XRP is unique compared to many other cryptocurrencies because it was designed with real-world financial applications in mind. Unlike Bitcoin, which started as a digital alternative to money, XRP aims to make global payments faster, cheaper, and more efficient. Ripple, the company behind XRP, built the RippleNet network, which allows banks and financial institutions to transfer money across borders almost instantly. This is a huge advantage because traditional banking systems can take days and charge high fees for international transfers. In other words, XRP has actual utility, which is something that many cryptocurrencies struggle to demonstrate. Over the past few years, Ripple has shown remarkable resilience. The company survived a challenging legal battle with the SEC, which clarified the regulatory status of XRP in 2023. This was a big milestone because legal uncertainty had been holding the coin back. With clearer rules now in place, XRP can grow with more confidence, attracting institutional investors and banks who previously hesitated. Legal clarity matters a lot in crypto, especially for coins tied to real financial systems, and this gives XRP a solid foundation for long-term growth. One of the most important aspects of XRP's potential is its adoption. Unlike many coins that rely mainly on speculation, XRP has actual partnerships with banks, payment providers, and fintech companies. RippleNet currently processes billions of dollars in transactions each year, and this number is growing. Real usage drives real value. If XRP becomes a preferred choice for global payments, its price could rise as demand for the token increases. Think of it this way: the more businesses and banks using XRP to settle transactions, the higher the network's real-world value, which can translate into price appreciation over time. Another interesting point is the limited supply of XRP. While there are billions of XRP coins, many are held in escrow or reserved by Ripple, reducing the circulating supply at any given time. This scarcity, combined with increasing adoption, can create a supply-demand imbalance that may push the price higher. It's basic economics. When demand grows faster than supply, prices tend to rise. This is why some analysts believe XRP has long-term potential, even if extreme predictions like $5,000 per coin are far off today. Ripple is also innovating in other areas. For example, they launched RLUSD, a stablecoin, and acquired several companies to expand their ecosystem. These moves show that Ripple isn't just focused on XRP price speculation, they are building a real financial network with multiple revenue streams. This is crucial for long-term sustainability. Coins tied to actual businesses and technology tend to perform better over decades than coins relying solely on hype. The stability and growth of Ripple's ecosystem give XRP a solid reason to exist and grow in value steadily. It's also worth noting that XRP's community is passionate and engaged. From developers posting creative scenarios on Twitter to investors holding for the long term, the community keeps momentum alive. While hype alone doesn't guarantee price growth, a strong, committed community helps adoption, supports project development, and increases visibility. History shows that coins with engaged communities, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, benefit from network effects over time. XRP is slowly building that effect as well. At the same time, it's important to stay realistic. XRP isn't guaranteed to skyrocket overnight. Crypto markets are volatile, and even with adoption, growth can be slow or uneven. That's why a cautious approach works best. Hold what you can afford to invest, monitor adoption and regulatory developments, and avoid making emotional decisions based on short-term price swings. Long-term thinking is key here. Vincent Fancode's $5,000 joke is really about mindset. Think decades ahead, consider potential adoption, and evaluate the fundamentals rather than obsessing over memes or short-term price predictions. In short, XRP's fundamentals, Ripple's growing ecosystem, and real-world adoption set it apart from many other crypto projects. While speculative targets are fun to discuss, the true potential comes from understanding why XRP exists, how it's being used, and what could drive its value over the long term. For investors, this combination of real utility, institutional partnerships, and growing network adoption makes XRP a project worth watching carefully. Now that we've looked at XRP's fundamentals and potential, it's time to talk about the other side, the risks and realistic limits of price growth. While the 5,000 XRP scenario is exciting to imagine, it's important to approach it with caution. For XRP to reach that kind of value, the total market capitalization of the coin would have to be absolutely enormous. Right now, XRP's market cap is in the tens of billions. But for $5,000 per coin, we're talking hundreds of trillions of dollars. To put it in perspective, that's more than the combined GDP of the largest economies in the world. Clearly, such a leap isn't likely in the short term, and even over decades, it would require extraordinary adoption and demand. This is why skepticism exists, and why anyone talking about extreme targets must remind viewers that these scenarios are more thought experiments than predictions. Another risk is market volatility. Crypto markets are famously unpredictable, and XRP is no exception. Prices can swing dramatically based on news, regulations, or broader market sentiment. Even if Ripple continues to expand and adoption grows, external factors like economic downturns, competing technologies, or government regulations could prevent prices from reaching extreme targets. Many early Bitcoin and Ethereum investors have seen huge gains, but only because they managed to hold through extreme volatility. Not everyone can stomach those swings, and that's a real risk for anyone chasing sky-high targets. Liquidity is also something to consider. While XRP is widely traded, a sudden surge in demand could cause short-term price spikes or imbalances. If a large portion of XRP is locked in escrow or held by institutions, the actual coins available for trading may be limited. In such cases, prices could spike temporarily due to scarcity, but these situations are often short-lived and not guaranteed to sustain long-term growth. Investors need to understand that supply and demand imbalances can create hype-driven moves that may not reflect real adoption. The regulatory environment is another risk factor. Ripple has made great progress since its SEC lawsuit, but crypto regulations continue to evolve globally. New rules or restrictions in major markets could affect XRP's growth. Investors must stay informed and ready to adjust their strategies if the regulatory landscape changes. This is part of being a cautious, responsible crypto participant, understanding the risks as well as the opportunities. Now let's talk about what realistic growth could look like. While $5,000 per XRP might seem far-fetched, more moderate gains are plausible over decades if Ripple's adoption continues to grow. Analysts have projected that XRP could reach several $100s per coin in a long-term scenario where banks and financial institutions continue to integrate RippleNet. Even a rise to $50, $100, or a few $100s per coin would be life-changing for early investors without relying on extreme, unlikely market conditions. These scenarios focus on gradual adoption and steady growth rather than speculative hype or viral memes. It's also worth noting that long-term success doesn't require holding every coin or going all in. A balanced approach, where XRP is part of a diversified portfolio, allows you to benefit from potential growth while managing risk. Historical lessons from Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies show that those who diversify, research, and hold through volatility often fare better than those chasing the latest moonshot prediction. Caution and conviction can coexist. You can believe in the potential without risking everything on an extreme scenario. Finally, it's important to approach crypto with a practical mindset. The $5,000 per XRP joke is a reminder, not a guarantee. It's about imagining what might be possible while staying grounded in reality. Holding XRP because you understand its technology, adoption, and ecosystem is a smarter strategy than chasing headlines or memes. The goal is to be prepared for opportunities while protecting yourself from risks. This mindset, cautious optimism, is exactly what keeps experienced investors in the game while avoiding regrets from impulsive decisions. Now that we've explored XRP's potential and the risks involved, let's talk about strategy and practical steps for anyone considering investing in XRP. One of the most important lessons I've learned from years in crypto is that no matter how promising a coin looks, risk management is everything. You should never invest more than you can afford to lose, and it's essential to diversify across multiple assets. XRP can be an exciting part of your portfolio, but putting all your money into one coin, especially one as volatile as crypto, is extremely risky. Think of XRP as one piece of a larger puzzle, a potential growth engine, but not a guaranteed path to wealth. A key part of my personal strategy is spreading risk across exchanges. In past bull runs, I've seen how exchanges can fail, freeze withdrawals, or go offline during high traffic periods. This can happen exactly when you want to sell or transfer your crypto, leaving you stuck. That's why I use multiple exchanges, Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and others, to make sure I always have access to my funds. It's like having multiple exit doors in a crowded theater. You hope you never need them, but it's comforting to know they're there. For XRP investors, this kind of preparation can prevent frustration and potential losses during big market moves. Another practical tip is to use secure storage methods. While exchanges are convenient, keeping all your XRP there can be risky. Cold wallets, hardware wallets, or verified custodial services provide extra security and control. Protecting your private keys using two-factor authentication and keeping backups is basic but essential risk management. It may seem tedious, but safeguarding your investment is far more important than chasing a price target. Now let's talk about investment mindset. Cautious optimism is my guiding principle. I hold XRP because I believe in its long-term potential, but I don't expect overnight miracles. Short-term price swings don't shake me because I focus on the technology, adoption, and network growth. This mindset helps prevent panic selling during dips and irrational buying during hype. Remember, the 5,000 XRP scenario is a decades-long, tongue-in-cheek vision. Treat it as inspiration, not a promise. The real value comes from steady accumulation, research, and understanding why XRP exists in the first place. I also track Ripple's milestones and ecosystem developments closely. Payment volume, new partnerships, and innovations like RLUSD stablecoin or acquisitions are signals of growing adoption. Positive fundamentals often precede price growth, and being informed helps you make strategic moves rather than emotional ones. If you see real usage and partnerships increasing, it's a strong indication that XRP is on the right track. Conversely, negative news or stagnation is a warning sign to reassess your exposure. Timing and planning are also key. While we don't have a crystal ball, having entry and exit strategies for different scenarios can protect gains and limit losses. For example, you could plan to hold a portion long-term for decades, another portion medium-term for possible price growth in 5 to 10 years, and a small portion for short-term trading if you're experienced. This layered approach balances potential gains with protection against volatility. Finally, community engagement is valuable. Joining Discord channels, forums, or groups focused on XRP and crypto in general allows you to learn, share experiences, and discuss strategies. While you shouldn't blindly follow others, staying connected provides insights you might miss alone. Knowledge sharing helps you stay prepared, informed, and confident in your decisions. Vincent Van Code's tweet sparked discussion and reflection, and being part of a community can do the same for your own crypto journey. In short, the key to handling XRP responsibly is combining research, risk management, and a realistic mindset. Cautious optimism allows you to appreciate potential growth without falling for hype, while practical strategies like multiple exchanges, secure storage, and long-term planning protect you against volatility. This is how experienced investors approach crypto. Thoughtfully, patiently, and strategically, XRP may never hit $5,000, or it might take decades. But being prepared ensures you're ready for whatever happens, and that's what smart investing is all about. As we wrap up this deep dive into XRP and the $5,000 scenario, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Investing in crypto, especially in projects like XRP, isn't just about chasing crazy numbers or short-term hype. It's about understanding the technology, evaluating adoption, and preparing for different outcomes. The $5,000 per XRP joke is really a lesson in mindset. It encourages long-term thinking, careful research, and imagining the possibilities without letting fantasy drive decisions. Whether XRP reaches $50, $500, or even $5,000 decades from now, what matters most is that you approach it responsibly and with a clear plan. Long-term perspective is crucial in crypto. The story of Bitcoin teaches us that early believers who held through volatility often reaped incredible rewards. Ripple and XRP are not identical to Bitcoin, but the lesson still applies. Patience, research, and conviction can pay off. Vincent Fancode's tweet is a reminder that opportunities can be overlooked if you dismiss them too early. It's about asking yourself today, will I regret not acting in the future? Thinking decades ahead may feel extreme, but it helps investors avoid impulsive decisions and focus on sustainable strategies. Mindset also involves balancing optimism with realism. I call it cautious optimism. You can be hopeful about XRP's potential without ignoring the risks. Regulations, market volatility, competition, and liquidity are real factors that could influence the coin's growth. Accepting this doesn't mean giving up on potential. It means preparing wisely. Diversifying your portfolio, using secure storage, and planning exit strategies for different scenarios are practical ways to protect yourself while still participating in potential growth. This balance is what separates strategic investors from those chasing memes or hype. Another important takeaway is the power of education and community. Crypto can be overwhelming, but staying informed, engaging with knowledgeable people, and sharing insights makes a huge difference. Joining forums, Discord groups, or other platforms helps you understand real trends, upcoming projects, and risk factors. It's also a space to discuss lessons from both success and failure, which is invaluable. Remember, even though XRP has a passionate community, you must make decisions based on your own research and risk tolerance, not just peer influence. It's also worth reflecting on the emotional side of investing. The idea of explaining to your grandkids why you didn't buy XRP is a playful but powerful reminder that regret is a stronger motivator than hype. Investing with a clear plan reduces the chance of emotional mistakes and allows you to stay calm during volatility. If you ever do see extreme gains, like the legendary Bitcoin story, having prepared properly means you can act confidently instead of panicking. Finally, the 5,000 XRP story isn't just about money. It's about perspective, learning, and strategic thinking. It's about recognizing opportunities, preparing for different outcomes, and making informed decisions. Holding XRP responsibly means understanding the technology, monitoring adoption, managing risks, and staying connected with the community. Whether XRP soars or grows steadily over decades, this approach ensures that you can participate in its journey without unnecessary regret or risk. To summarize, XRP presents an exciting combination of real-world utility, growing adoption, and long-term potential. Extreme scenarios like $5,000 per coin are fun to imagine but shouldn't dictate your actions. Cautious optimism, practical planning, and continuous learning are the tools that allow investors to navigate this space successfully. At the end of the day, the story isn't just about XRP, it's about how you approach crypto investing, make thoughtful choices, and position yourself to benefit from opportunities while managing risks. Dream responsibly, research diligently, and stay prepared. That's the mindset that turns possibilities into potential realities.